Good morning and welcome to the virtual village hall. How are you today? I'm very well. I'm here in Kent. A little bit overcast today, but we've had some really sunny weather recently. I'm Rachel from I Printed That. I run printmaking workshops all around the county, so lino cut, screen printing, monoprinting, and that's what we're going to be doing today, a little bit of monoprinting. So mono just meaning one, which means you can get one print off of this sort of printing. However, I'm going to show you a way that you can get two and then elevate it. So if you've been having some lovely little walks in this beautiful sunny weather that we're having at the moment, then maybe you've spotted some really nice shaped leaves that have gorgeous textured veins on the background, on their backs, or maybe you've picked up some feathers and you like a way of preserving them. So I'm going to give you a few little hints and tips so that you can do that. So join me for today's session because we are going to do some leaf printing. I remember when I did this at school, they do always end up looking kind of a little bit childlike, even when I've tried to do them in recent years. But I've got a way that makes them look a little bit more sort of sophisticated. And then we can elevate them by adding, if I can find it here, adding colour to those leaves as well. So I think the first tip is the colour paper that you use. So I'm going to be using black paper today and I'm going to be using white ink. So this is a special lino cut or block printing ink. You can do this with acrylics, but not quite so well. I would definitely go for the better kind of quality lino cut ink. We will be using acrylics, so I've got some gorgeous colours for you here, neons and real brights. Now that we're into summer, they're the colours that I'm particularly drawn to. Use dark black paper, maybe a dark grey, or even like parcel paper, so stuff that you get when something comes to your door. This is great. I never throw this stuff away. I've always got a big stash of it because it's always good to use, and cardboard as well. Just go for a really dark, I would go for sort of a darker paper rather than printing just onto white. It just kind of elevates it, it ups your print game a little bit. So how do we do it? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop you down and we'll get started. Okay, so I've got a selection of some of the prints that we can do today. We can just do a very mono double really. So we've got just black and white. So we've got the mono there and also just a single print. So mono there. So just very, very clean. That might be your sort of thing. Or maybe you kind of like things looking a little bit sort of antique, a bit vintage. So we can add a little bit more texture with our ink. We're going to do one like this as well, but this one we are going to then add colour to the background. And then it's just another sort of selection of a few other ones that I've done. So you'll need a piece of something like Perspex, acrylic, just something that is nice and flat and smooth. You could even use the glass or plastic from a photo frame. Obviously, if you're using glass, just be really careful not to cut yourself. And then the ink that I'm using is a lino cut ink or block printing ink, they're sometimes called, and I'm going for white. So it's really going to stand out against that black. And you don't need too much. So let's just squeeze a bit out. I'm trying to go careful. There we go. So I suppose about the size of a blueberry. That sort of size, quite a large blueberry. And then I'm just going to use a roller. So this is just a rubber roller or brayer, sometimes referred to. And I'm rolling this ink out. So we've got a really nice flat roll of ink, flat surface to put our leaves on. So you want to take one of your leaves and we're going to place it vein side down. So the best leaves to choose are leaves where the veins are quite prominent, but experiment. That's the great thing about these. They don't take a lot of time to do. So you want to lay your leaf down, grab a piece of paper, place that on top, and then just with your fingers, working quite methodically, go all over the paper, over the leaf itself. So we're making sure that that leaf makes contact with the ink. Always end up getting on my hands, my fingers, inky fingers. And then we're just going to peel that back slowly. But don't take it all off. Hold it back with one of your fingers on the other hand. And then just pick up that leaf. Pop it just to one side for the moment. And then we're going to put the card back down. Just briefly go over the top again where the leaf was. And that will give us our first print. Now, not spectacular, but this is the one that we're going to elevate with a little bit of colour. So I'm going to put that to one side. That will need to dry overnight if you want to add colour to it. I've got one that I did earlier that I'm going to show you, like a couple of days ago, that I'm going to show you today. But leave that to one side. And then it's time to take our other print from here. Now, what you can do, you can put this down and print so that you get this lovely kind of background to it. Or if you want just a very clear background, you're just going to put that onto the table or onto another piece of paper, like scrap paper, and print exactly the same way that I'm going to show you now. So take your other piece of card. I'm going to do this one just slightly off center, I think. And then we're rubbing all over the leaf. That's it. And then make sure you rub the background as well. And what's so nice about these is that they are quick. You know, this time of year we want to spend as much time outside as possible. So if we can do a little bit of something creative that's really quick, it's brilliant. Oh, there we go. Let's take that, let's peel that leaf off. There you go. And then you get this really nice detailed print. I absolutely love these. So you can also, I did say that this is monoprinting, but the great thing is with this is that we can get more than one. So if you look there, you can still see a bit of a, well, like an imprint really. So why not just try it? It might not come out quite as clearly. I don't think I've got any, no, I've only got black paper to hand at the moment, but let's just try it with another little bit of black paper. Maybe I'll move it over a bit. See how that one came out. Yeah, so you still get a print, but it's more like of a ghost print. So they're going to get fainter and fainter as you go along. But you know, you can use these for collage, use them for scrapbooking, journaling, that sort of thing, if you want to take more prints off of it. So now we've done our kind of basic prints, I just want to show you another way that you can use monoprinting. And that's by actually drawing into the ink itself. So I'm going to put a little bit more ink on. And just let me show you. Oh, that's the wet. Let me just keep that one up the way. If I do this, just have a look through some of my sample ones. So with this one, we're going to be actually drawing on. So you need something like a pencil, use the tip of a paintbrush or sort of the end of a paintbrush. And we're just going to draw some really simple kind of shapes. So it might be like a cow parsley shape, sort of seed head, a few of those. It could even be something. No, it doesn't have to be down the natural elements. It could just be a really fun kind of pop art type ice cream. And the way to do this one is, again, piece of Perspex, flat surface, roll out your ink. Now, it sometimes takes a few goes, a little bit of practice, sorry, a little bit of practice to get the right consistency of ink. But yeah, just draw your shape in, no bigger than your piece of paper, remember. Or actually, you could go bigger, and then it's quite nice. I quite like that, especially with flowers and that sort of thing, where the flower is coming off the page, so it really looks like in absolute abundance. So let's do a quick sketch. The main thing to remember here is that whatever goes on here will end up the reverse. So for example, if you wanted to put a text in, make sure that you write backwards. So let's add those little seed heads. So you might want to do some samples as well first off. You might want to just see what different marks make. So use your paintbrush to make some marks. You could use like a tool just to scratch away. You can even incorporate I've got so many bits here, sorry. You could even incorporate a few leaf imprints if you want, just by tapping down on the leaf itself, just to give you a little bit of interest. If you want, you can clean away all of the background. Really, it's just this kind of experiment, really. I could clean all of this background away just using a rag. This one's going to be more of a sample one than an actual kind of finished piece, but I just wanted to show you, what you can do. And this is just water-based ink, so no real kind of messy cleanup, no worse than paint. Just going to add a few, go a little bit more. I might just make these a bit more. So really just experiment, just a few sample ones. And see what you like. You've got the sketch thing, you've got the actual leaf imprints from this. And grab another piece of paper. And you do exactly the same thing. Put your paper on top and then use your hand like a press to make contact with the paper and that ink. So if you're just joining us and you've missed out on the first sort of 14 minutes or so, don't worry. This will be on the Virtual Village Hall Facebook page and YouTube channels afterwards. So you can go back and check it. You can pause, you can rewind, you can fast forward. And please do remember to pop in a comments or give us a like if you've enjoyed today's session. Ask me any questions. And there we go. Oh, cool. We've got a nice little print just just some examples of what you can achieve with it, with this kind of scratching. And then the more ink you put on, the different effects you'll get as well. Really do have a play. And I'd love to see some of your end results as well. We always love to see what you've been getting up to here on the Virtual Village Hall. So please do put your photos in the comments as well. So, quick recap. We did a couple of prints from our leaf. So we did the one where we had white at the background, and also the leaf itself didn't have too much detail. That's the one I did yesterday. And then we also did, and I've lost it. I've got so much stuff here today. It's not the actual one, but then we did one like this as well, where you use the leaf to then, you put the paper over the leaf that's then got all the paint on the ink on it, and then that's how you make your print. So this one's a little bit boring. So I'm going to add colour to it now. And because we've done it white ink on black paper, we can add light colours and turn it into something really special. So I've got some gorgeous acrylic paint colours here. So I've got my brights, but also I'm really attracted to neons at the moment. So all you need to do is just use your, let's start with yellow. Use your paint. I want to do it kind of a bit of a gradient. So we're just going to paint onto the white. You can do it thick, you can do it nice and light. I'm just going to do it around the edge. And just blend those colours in. So with that, get that kind of ombre sunset effect. So the one thing to remember, that you do need to let that white ink dry, and that's going to take sort of a day or two before you start painting over the top of it. So there's our little prints from today. And what's that taken us? Not even 20 minutes. So it's a great little project to do with children, after a walk, that sort of thing, so that you can just spend a few minutes just being creative, but you also get to spend a bit of time outside, which we love at this time of the year as well. So, how does that sound on a scale of 1 to 3? Let me know in the comments. 1 being easy peasy, 3 being you're not sure if you'll be able to manage that one. I hope you'll agree with me that it's really nice and easy, something simple but really effective that you can do, and also get involved with the children, maybe grandchildren, nieces and nephews. We've got summer holidays coming up in not too, oh, actually, well, half terms first, I think, haven't we? But summer holidays will be here before we know it. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy printing. Bye.